Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Good evening, guys and gals. Good evening. This is Spirit Journey. How you all doing? Yes, I see we have viewers here. I invite you all to say hello in the chat so I could say hello back. I hope your afternoon and morning went very well. Yes, my day was quiet. I stayed at home, and I did put up a live stream earlier today on one of my other channels. And what else? Yeah, everything was went pretty good, and I just had my dinner too. Yeah, and I have all this turmeric on my shirt. I should have worn my little bib or something, so when I ate it, something that splashes on you because it has a lot of gravy, and it went on my shirt. So, so I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I hope everything's doing good. Well, today I want to talk about babies. That's right, babies in particular. I'm going to talk about, well, I heard about something, it was either yesterday or the day before yesterday. So I have my little dog here. Let me show you her. Here you go. Come on, say hello. This is Lily. Yeah, say hello, Lily. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She wants to be with mommy. Sometimes when my phone makes those notification noises, it gets them scared sometimes. So it is what it is. So she's just she wanted to climb up on me. So I'm just gonna hold her a little bit. Yeah. I want to talk about babies, and I'm going to talk about this report about Missouri. It's actually kind of old, the report. It came, the video that I saw about this was actually in 2016, and today is May 11th, 2019, and this video that I saw was actually uploaded in 2016. So it is a little bit outdated, but I thought it was still important for the day. And it's just really telling to me that some news they don't want the masses to know about. I want to talk about this, this woman, I don't know exactly how she found out, what were the circumstances, but in part, this woman, she's a famous black gospel singer. She lives in Missouri. Her name is Zella Jackson Price. That's Zella Jackson Price. She's in her early 70s right now. And in the 1960s, she gave birth to a little girl. Yes, she was preemie. Now, Miss Price, she was 6 months pregnant, and she went into labor. She goes to the hospital, and I think at that time she was married. Okay, and she rushes to the hospital. They put her in a room, and the nurses, doctors left her. Well, she continued going into labor, delivered the baby girl by herself, and the Miss Price has to yell out loud, "Hey, someone help me, I just had a baby." So eventually someone comes in the room, and she said that a nurse came in the room, takes the baby, walks out the room, and then sometime later, the nurse comes back and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, but your baby didn't survive." Now, to also add to this, sometime before, she was pregnant before in the past, and she had a baby that did die. So back in the 1960s, you don't really question your doctor or your nurse. And so I thought, so she goes home. But fast forward about 49, 50 years later, something happens and she discovers that her baby didn't die. So I'm going to show you part of the clip on that. Yeah. And I think why I share this is because, see, in my family, it sounds very familiar. My mother actually had a brother. This uncle of mine allegedly had died when he was 3 days old, and this happened in New York City, in Manhattan, and I'm sorry, excuse me. So what happened? My grandmother had delivered a baby in a hospital. The baby was 3 days old, and the nurse comes in and says that the baby died. So it was really, really, really something that I don't know. I mean, it's hard to really make sense about the story. My mother told me about this story years ago, and excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm okay. Boy, this sometimes the air conditioner makes my nose tickle. Yeah, but so the story reminded me, as I was saying, what happened to my uncle. Here, my grandmother goes to the hospital. It was her first baby. And then 3 days later, back in those days, women stayed in the hospital for 3 days. And then both mommy and baby go home. But on the third day, the baby died. The baby was allegedly dropped on the floor by the nurse. And the hospital said, we'll just take care of it. And again, my grandparents were immigrants to the United States. And I mean, they spoke English a little bit, but it was, I guess, again, back in those days, you didn't question authority, nurses and doctors, things like that. So when I heard the story about Zilla Jackson Price, it really started to get me to think about, what could have really happened. So I want to show you some tapes that I have here. They're videos. Let me see if I do this right. Okay. Okay. So I'm just toggling here. I have different screens up. Okay, that'll be desktop. Yes, I'm going to keep the audio off, even though this is fair use, but still sometimes YouTube still flags videos. So I just want to put it on. Okay, this here that you see is Zilla Jackson Price. And this is the news report about it. Okay, that's the mother in the red, and the baby girl, now woman, on the right. We're in the white. This is the lawyer who will be handling Zilla Jackson Price's legal affairs. And I just think it is so weird how, here this is 2019. And this is the hospital. The hospital now is used as a senior living center. Yeah, that was um, Homer G. Phillips Hospital. And it was considered a good hospital. So what they're showing now, that that's the lawyer, and this event took place in the 1960s. Okay? And again, the 1960s, you had a racial climate of blacks and whites, and the friction between the two, and the segregation and hostilities. Now, these ladies here, let me just put on pause. See, what happened was that, see all these ladies here? All those ladies that you see on that screen walking, let me get my face out. Yeah, they're going to try to sue all these ladies here. These ladies are in their 60s and 70s, and during the 1960s, all these ladies, some of them were the mommies, and some of them were the children who knew that their birth moms are something questionable, that they may not have been their mother's child. And they all learned of this particular hospital, so either they had the baby at that hospital, or they knew that they were born at that hospital during the 1960s. Okay? And so it didn't matter whether you were married, or, again, in a lot of the women here, they were teenage moms, but they didn't give consent. Okay? They gave no consent in this matter to have the baby taken away. And then not only did they take away the baby and lie to the mom and said that that the baby died. The baby didn't die. They lied to the mom and then sold, that's right, you heard me right, they sold the baby to other families. They did it for money, and they were very judgmental in those days. They judged black people. They judged us. They said, "Oh, you're not good enough. Hey, you're too young to have a baby. Hey, let's do you a favor. Say that your baby died, and then give it to someone else. And oh, of course, yes, we'll get money off of you." And so that's what happened. Awful, isn't it? Awful. Yeah, that's the hospital. See? Back in those days, things were segregated. They had a black hospital, had black nurses, black doctors. This is a modern doctor now being interviewed, and this man here was going to do a report on the hospital because it was a leading hospital of its day. Okay? But now it's being stained for its practices that it did in the 1960s. But you know what I say? That bad behavior like that from establishment, from institutions, they don't just stop at doing something, And I really start to think that where else are these babies being used for? Let's say you take a baby. Let me just switch the screen here. Yeah, let's say that you switch it. I'm sorry. Let's say that you have this baby, but let's say you don't give the baby to a family. What if you use the baby for scientific research? What I mentioned a few minutes earlier, that my grandmother had delivered a baby at a hospital in New York City, not Missouri, but in New York City. And a similar type of scenario, oh, your baby died. Now, I don't know whether my grandmother saw, got to hold the baby once it was said that the baby died. But the hospital supposed to have handled everything. And about maybe 22 years ago, I did go to the records of the hospital. I'm sorry, the Department of Health. And yes, there was a death certificate. But people can lie about anything. And so I really start wondering, hey, did this baby really did die? It doesn't say where the baby was buried. In fact, what's really ghastly about it is that what it said in writing was that the baby was used for anatomical studies. You know what that means? That's to dissect. That's such an evil. Could you imagine? The nurse drops the nurse drops the baby, and the hospital said they're going to handle it, and then you're going to use anatomical studies on something, on someone, some human being that was a was born a very healthy baby boy, and then you're going to do that and not give it a proper burial? I don't know, but it's just ghastly to just hear about that. So this story about these ladies, and in particular the Zilla Jackson Price, that to have something special, and for someone to make a judgment call and say you're not worthy to have your own baby, we're going to give it away and then sell it. It's just awful. And so you hear things, and my doing this my channel, I'm learning about all these different, what they call conspiracy theories, things like that. I don't like the term conspiracy theory, but I'm learning about certain things, that people are being human trafficked. People are being trafficked to, like what they mentioned, the Montauk Labs out in Long Island, and that different studies that are being done on these young children, infants. So I'm just saying that some babies they may use for these, to work for the government, doing what they call black operations. And no pun in words intended regarding these African American children or black children. But it just got me thinking, people, establishment, do things for purpose. And it's not always just money, but that's a big part of it. But purpose behind that money. And so that's where I'm starting to think, hey, what's happening to us? What's happening to all those women? All those women. It's about 100 women that contacted that lawyer. Okay, I want to see if I have the lawyer's name. Yeah, I don't have the name of the lawyer, but this man here, let me just switch the screen again. Yeah, this is the lawyer for Zilla Jackson Price, who'll be taking her case. And I did go on the internet. I did check on this doctor and Mrs. Price, and I couldn't find any update. Again, this video was uploaded with this doctor. That was 2016, so that's 3 years ago. So I couldn't find anything. But if anyone had heard anything regarding this doctor, this lawyer, and what was the outcome, yeah, let me know. You can put it in the chat, or after this video gets uploaded, you can put it in the comments below, any information that you know about this case. It's horrific. And I think another reason why I'm sharing this information, I'm also sharing this information because that I think that an evil person is an evil person, and no matter what you do, if someone has the intention to do you harm, they're just going to do it. But I wanted to add that the Black community, regardless of your ethnicity, whether you're born in the U.S. or the Caribbean, Latin America, the African continent, or even Europe or the Pacific Islands, Black people around the world, global, that we need to work together. We need to network. Our men in our lives has to be behind us. See, a lot of those women that I showed you in the video, many of these women were young teenagers at the time of their pregnancy. And being young, you're not taken seriously, and again, judgment calls. And if the girl isn't married, that you have evil people who want to take advantage of that singleness, exploit it, and do harm. So it's important that the men in our lives be there by our side, to be proactive. Be proactive. I think we're always alone. And so people think, hey, Black people are an easy target because they don't stick together, they might think. But we were a close community. All over the world, we stick together. We lived in a community. And it's just when, I guess in the 1960s, when the Civil Rights Act was being implemented, that it seemed like at that time things really started worsening. That here we thought inclusion was the secret for so-called equality, but in my opinion, it wasn't, and that it was a calculated event that was actually used to pull our communities apart, because it forced us to live into ghettos, and to start to lose your identity, because we might be so eager to try to assimilate. So you start to forget who you are and want to become thinking inclusive. So once they had us, they controlled us. They put us to live in these constrained neighborhoods, and so we were easy target. It's like a bowl of fish, and you have a person with a weapon and wants to stab into the fish bowl. It's an easy target. So we need to make sure that our guys, our husbands, are there by our side, and to ask questions, and to demand to see your child. Demand it. If you're involved in a church, let your church know. Let them know, because they could be doing what they call human trafficking, and then they're selling your babies too. They're selling them, just like what happened to Zella Jackson Price. Yeah. So I think the more that we stick together and be vocal when necessary. No one wants a big mouth, And I think sometimes we may come across like we're big mouth people. But no, speak up when you need to, and have people by your side to stand in unity. And I think by doing that, we'll at least make them think twice, So the other thing I want to talk about, let's see here, I want to talk about this other thing. I was following, I'm just toggling here. I was I was also watching about the birth of, Meghan Markle, who had a baby, who allegedly had a baby boy this May 6th, 2019. Yes. Let's see here. Yeah, let me just switch the screen here. Okay. Okay. So here you see Prince Harry, and this video that you see here was when he announced to everybody that he's a new dad, and he's all excited. But look where he's standing. Okay? He's standing right next to, let me pull that back. Okay? He's standing right next to a horse stable. Now, every time that I saw in the media when the royal family has a baby, isn't the father always at the hospital? And they come down they go down the stairs together, the husband and wife, and she's all dressed up, the wife, and they present the baby publicly. Now, the baby was supposed to have been born, the baby was showed 2 days ago. I mean, when the baby was 2 days old. And I'm sorry. So, but that didn't happen. So it's really interesting that in this case, the protocol about the baby was a little different. It just kind of stood out. But when I first learned of the birth, it's really interesting how I get sometimes. Now, it was either, let's see, the baby was born on Monday morning. It was either early that Sunday morning, earlier that day, or late evening the day before. That would be Sunday night. I was just really thinking about the couple. I said, yeah, isn't the baby supposed to be born soon? I heard that the baby was to be born either in late April, early May. And it was just really on me. So I knew that there was supposed to be a delivery, but I said to myself, hey, let me check on the internet. And I just saw, like, I watched 3 videos that the baby's due any day. And then I wake up, I had breakfast, and I put on my computer, and then boom, I saw this video here that we're watching. And I thought, whoa, I thought it was really something. Oops. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, my screen is just acting funky right now. I have to try to fix it. I don't know what happened there. Let me try to fix it. It just take me it just take me a moment. I gotta find out what happened. Yes, this is what happens when you're multitasking and you got all these windows on your monitor. It gets you distracted sometime. Let me just try to fix what happened here. Yeah, so I just thought it was something. Okay, let me switch it back now. So, yeah, so here they made a big announcement, but still, I'm just fascinated about those horses. So, when I saw this, I was very excited. And then I thought to myself, You know what the significance of this is to me? My interpretation. Before I started hearing about other things, I said, wow, this baby is going to be a special baby. And again, I never saw any of the royal family buy a stable, an animal stable, when announcing for the first time that your wife just had a baby. Again, the protocol was different. He wasn't, they didn't make the announcement how the other royalties did by when they came down the stairs together with the baby in the arm. That didn't happen, okay? So when I saw the black horses, now these are beautiful animals here, really pretty. And what I was thinking was, wow, they're making a statement here. The black horse represents power, and that this is going to be a powerful kid. And black again because of its black / African ancestry. So they're never going to let you forget, the media's never going to let you forget that that's a black kid, okay? But again, black is beautiful, and all colors and all races are beautiful as well. So that was the first thing I thought. When I first got the news, it was, I think, this video that you see on the screen that I saw, and I was really excited, okay? And then the next thing I saw, let me just toggle the screen here. I was watching something else. Let's see. Let me get the other videos here. Okay, let me show you this now. Okay. And so as you see here on the screen, okay, I'm trying to make it go on. Okay. What do you see? Okay. Yeah, I want to keep the sound off because it might trigger the flagging of the video, even though it is fair use, but still. So you see Harry and Meghan and the little bundle of joy. Yes, congratulations on the baby. I almost forgot to say that. Yes, this is the baby. Okay, beautifully swaddled. And they look like they've been up all night. Yes. They look happy but tired. And so this is another difference of the protocol that's different here. That she's not holding the baby, but he is. Now I'm all for dads holding their babies, and more power to him to be a hands-on dad, more power to him. I thought it was beautiful. But I was surprised, I have to admit, I was surprised when they made the entrance and he's holding the baby. And I think part of the reason why I was a little surprised was that because Meghan was always holding her belly during her pregnancy, so she seemed very protective and nurturing, want to hold the baby for safety. And again, Harry never had any babies, and I don't think he has real experience holding baby, but maybe he does. Maybe he has a lot of experiences holding babies. But I just think for like a first time mom in particular, that she would be holding the baby, but she's not. So it's again a change in protocol, okay? And yes, we also see that Meghan, that she is a little fuller, that she has some baby weight on her, but she still looks beautiful. Yes, very beautiful. They look very peaceful, all of them together. So, because some people were questioning whether or not she was actually pregnant, but she looks like she gained baby weight and everything, weight around her hips, her arms, her face, and everything, you know. So she looks like she could have had the baby. Okay. So that's that there. Beautiful baby boy. Beautiful. I like baby boys in particular. I do. I really do. Okay. Let me switch the screen now. Yeah, so that was beautiful. I love looking at babies and everything. That was really sweet. So I think the baby's going to, no matter what, I think the baby is going to be uh, special in many attributes, not just because the baby is of racially mixed heritage, but everything, you know. The baby, oh, the name of the baby. I didn't even give the name of the baby. Okay. The baby's name is Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. And the couple, the couple, Harry and Meghan, they decided they didn't want the baby to have a title. And I thought that was odd. I thought, I mean, being that the baby is of racially mixed ancestry and different nationalities, that this baby is going to need as much power and status as possible. You know, even though you have, you know, the royal family visits all parts of the world, but yet kids are kids. And when kids perceive that someone is better than someone else because of their status, such as title. Now the baby won't be called a prince, but they didn't want the baby have a title really, but the baby would be called the I guess you'd call it something like a title, would be called Master Archie. Yeah. So the baby's first name is Archie. There is a name called Archibald, but and that's one of their ancestors, but the actual name is Archie. So when addressing this child when he gets older, it will be Master Archie, you know. So it's interesting. I think for a kid, and a kid that is biracial or, you know, known mixed ancestry, and you're living amongst European royalty, you need as much help as you can get, as much status. So, you know, kids could be mean and call him certain names, if you know what I mean. So I thought it was interesting. And when they were announcing the name of the child, that when they mentioned the title, well, I thought it was interesting. Like one of the videos I saw, they didn't say the word master. And he gave the full other name, you know, Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor, but they failed to use master. And that would be funny, because, see, the people that were announcing it were white men. And so to call a kid of black ancestry master, I don't think psychologically they could handle that, you know. But maybe some can, but at least in the Americas, to call someone master, you know, it has its connotations. But again, in the British royalty, that means something else, you know. But it would really be interesting if in Europe, whether when he gets older, they call him Master, or Master Archie. You know, that should really be interesting. And let's say, I guess Harrison, I guess because the father is Harry, so I mean, maybe I was surprised at the name. It's a nice name, and yeah, it's a nice name actually. Nice. It's a a, a, a simple name, nothing complicated, but a nice name. Yeah, and the baby weighed 7 pounds 3 ounces, and I thought that was interesting. That I thought seven, it's like a perfect number, and then three, I'm thinking of the Trinity, and I just like that. It seemed like a positive thing. If the baby's not too big, not too small, but it seems like a nice solid kid. Yeah, yeah. Let me see what else here I have on the screen. Let's see. Oh, okay. I have this on the screen here. Let me share this. Let me make the screen bigger. Okay. So now what you're looking at on this screen, yeah, there is controversy already regarding little baby Archie or Master Archie. Well, when they make an announcement, let me roll it back a little bit. Let me see here. Well, this plaque here is an official statement from the um, royal family about the kid. Okay. So let me look up close on this. See I need my glasses. I can hardly read it. I need my glasses. Okay. Now the controversy that's being said right now is how, like, the announcement of the kid, the child, that the statement here that you see on the screen, it doesn't have the signatures of the doctors, because a doctor has to officiate the birth or even the death of a person, right? And so in the past, with all the other royal babies, when they made the official announcement on this plaque, that it has certain things on it, so it's excluded of the doctor's signature. And as you read it closely, I'm going to read it out loud. Okay, let me see. The Queen and the royal family are delighted at the news that Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex, was safely delivered of a son at 5:26 a.m. today. Her Royal Highness and her child are both doing well. And that's May 6, 2019. Now, the key phrase here that's problematic is this: the Duchess of Sussex was safely delivered of a son. Okay, you deliver pizza. Okay, you deliver the papers. You deliver, but when you have a baby, you had a baby. You don't. The baby isn't. You're not safely delivered of a son. It's like someone handing you the baby. So it sounds like that there was a baby, all right, but the baby was handed to Megan. And not that she delivered a baby, or she had a baby, but it's saying that it was safely delivered to her. And I'm sure that the person who typed this up, who officiated this would be the Queen, right? But they worded like that. So this is becoming problematic to some individuals, and it's further speculating. Throughout her pregnancy, some people felt that she wasn't really pregnant. All the I'm not even going to put it out there like that, but there were questions about her status regarding pregnancy. And then now this, that how it's worded that she was safely delivered of a, child. So this is something else. And it just really has you thinking. Okay? Let me show you something else now. So I hope you could read this and everything. So you can look at it at your own leisure. Let me see here. Yeah, so it's different. Okay? Let's show you some other things. And I want to show you this also here. Okay. Okay, this is another screen here. I want to show you this video. Again, there's no audio on it, but I want to show you this, that my little dog sneezing. You okay, baby? Yeah. Oh, poor baby. You're my baby boy. See, that's my baby boy, my little Lavin. Yeah, he's sneezing. Yeah. Okay. Now, I want to show you this other video. And this is with Prince Charles and the German connections. And why I wanted to share that is because, see, after during World War II, I think actually it was during World War I, that the royal family, they changed their surname. They have they're a German family that's stationed in Britain. They're German. Their background, their German ancestry goes back. And so they still have very strong connections. And so during the war, especially World War II, they didn't want to be associated with being German. And so they changed their surname into Windsor. But before that, they had a very German name. Okay? And also, let's say, Prince Philip, Queen Elizabeth's husband, his last name was Mountbatten, I think. Something like that. Yeah, Mountbatten. But he is of German ancestry also. And his sisters, I think all his sisters married German officers. They were in the Nazi party. And so they had to, again, separate themselves from that German half. They didn't want to be associated. It was not good to be German during World War II in Britain. Because, again, Germany did bomb Britain. But here, fast forward 70 years later, during the time of this birth of baby Archie, or Master Archie, Prince Charles arrives from, guess what? Germany. He was in Germany, and he got a souvenir for his, for the baby. And so this is what this video is for. Let me show you. And Prince Charles is also speaking in German. Let me see here.
Wieder einmal.
Let me put it back a little bit.
Es ist auch.
Oh, go back more. Okay. Let me go back a little bit here.
Back for him from his tour of Germany, courtesy of the country's president.
Okay, let me put the sound off. Yeah. Let me put the German back on.
Auch wirklich ein besonderes Vergnügen, wieder einmal in Berlin zu sein. Besonders als Großvater eines neugeborenen Enkels.
Hard to tell if he was more.
See that? So, he's making a big statement, I think. Yeah? I think he's Prince. See, nothing happens just by chance. Let me put that back on. Yeah. So what I want to say here is nothing happens by chance. Everything you see, nothing is by chance. Everything is by design. Everything that you see. So here, he's Prince Charles is a new grandfather again. Well, he's a grandfather again, and he's speaking German. So it's like speaking over his kid, so to speak, because he's talking about his new grandson, and he's speaking in German regarding his new grandson. Okay, that's a baby Archie. Okay, and he's presenting this teddy bear, the first gift from Germany. So what's that mean? Is to say, and again, initiation, I would imagine in the British royalty, is to let that kid know who his roots are. And so Charles is saying up front to the world, this is my German grandson. And I guess he's, in a sense, welcoming this new baby to the world as a German, or I should say a British, but of German background. Yep. So I thought that was really, really interesting. Really, it's something else that you have so much going on in the world, so much. And it will really be interesting as the kid gets older, what initiations this kid is going to be given. I'm sure that the kid will be invited to parties, get what do you call get into what do you call it? These secret organizations. You know, I wish I knew the names. It's something of the Garter, I think it's called, and Prince William is a member. You know, so they'll be going and getting their initiations, and again, Prince Charles, the grandfather now, he's speaking in German regarding his new grandson, and it will be very interesting. It's like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Sussex of what do you call it? The Duchess of Sussex, Meghan, that they want to keep a low profile on the kid, but some things you can't hide. You can't hide that kid's background, you know. So it will really be interesting about who this kid is going to be. And again, when I saw that first video with Prince Harry in front of the horses, you know, and black horses, I thought it was a powerful statement. So the father, Prince Harry, standing by black horses, affirming the black heritage of the baby, and then the grandfather, Prince Charles, speaking in German in front of a wide audience, and giving the kid, will be presenting a kid this German teddy bear. So very interesting, and it'll be very interesting how the cousins now of baby Archie, how they're going to respond, and I hope everything goes well for this kid. That's one thing I say. I wish the royal family, Meghan and Harry, I wish them blessings, and that they do the kid right, that they, you know, expose the kid to many things. Yeah, I think they're going to really expose baby Archie to a lot of stuff, and I hope they really install pride in that kid, because you know the royal family and aristocracy in Europe may be a little problematic on a male child of African ancestry. But be proud, whatever what you are out there, black, white, yellow, red, we are all beautiful. And I wish the best for this kid. I think the kid has a bright future, and I wish the couple, Meghan and Harry, the health, wealth, and happiness. So I've been on here for a while, and I can't think of anything else. So you take care, guys and gals, and I wish you all a lot of joy. Okay? Bye bye.